Everyone thinks they know Switzerland. Snow-covered mountains, luxury watches, chocolate, picture-perfect villages. But after traveling across this country ourselves, we discovered that those famous images barely scratch the surface. Over the next journey, we'll walk through medieval streets, older than many nations stand, above Europe's largest glacier, explore valleys where waterfalls fall from cliffs hundreds of feet high, and witness landscapes so breathtaking they almost seem impossible. This isn't a list of tourist attractions. It's the Switzerland you experience when you slow down, leave the crowds behind, and let the country reveal itself one unforgettable place at a time. So before we set foot on our first destination, take one last look at the Switzerland you think you know, because by the end of this journey, you'll never see it the same way again. Zurich is often described as Switzerland's financial center, a city of banks, luxury watches, and polished streets. That image is not entirely wrong, but it reveals only a small part of what Zurich truly feels like. Arriving here in the early morning, the first thing we notice is not the wealth or the modern skyline. It is the stillness of Lake Zurich. The water stretches calmly beneath the soft light. Swans drift close to the shore, and the distant Alps slowly emerge through a thin veil of mist. Cyclists pass beneath the trees, trams glide quietly through the streets, and the scent of fresh bread escapes from cafés, beginning another peaceful day. Following the Limmat River brings us into the Old Town, where narrow lanes twist between colorful buildings and ancient church towers rise above the rooftops. Small courtyards appear without warning. Bells echo across the river. Locals gather over coffee while visitors pause beside windows filled with Swiss chocolate handmade crafts and carefully arranged watches. Here, Zurich does not feel like a city rushing toward the future. It feels like a place that has learned how to carry its past without being trapped by it. From Lindenhof Hill, the city opens beneath us. The river curves between historic buildings, boats move slowly across the water, and beyond the rooftops, the mountains wait in silence. As evening approaches, people gather along the lakeshore to swim, talk, or simply watch the sunlight fade across the Alps. In that moment, Zurich reveals its real beauty, not through luxury, but through balance, between history and modern life, between movement and calm, between the city and the wilderness waiting just beyond it. Zurich is more than the place where our Swiss adventure begins. It is the first glimpse of a country where even the busiest cities remain deeply connected to water mountains and the quiet rhythm of nature. And from here, we continue south toward Lucerne, a lakeside city of medieval bridges, painted rooftops, and legendary Alpine peaks. Lucerne is one of those rare places. Nestled between a crystal-clear lake and the towering Swiss Alps, it welcomes visitors with a quiet charm that no photograph can fully capture. The morning begins along the shores of Lake Lucerne, where gentle ripples reflect the surrounding mountains like polished glass. Wooden boats sway softly in the harbor as church bells echo across the water. The air is fresh, carrying the scent of pine forests mixed with coffee, drifting from cafés that line the waterfront. Everything moves at a slower pace here, inviting you to pause and simply take it all in. Crossing the famous Chapel Bridge, the oldest covered wooden bridge in Europe, feels like stepping back through centuries of Swiss history. Painted panels beneath its timber roof tell stories of the city's past, while colorful flower boxes brighten every step across the Reuss River. Just beyond the bridge, narrow cobblestone streets weave through the old town, where medieval squares painted facades and hidden fountains create a timeless atmosphere that has changed remarkably little over the centuries. As the day unfolds, Lucerne reveals another side of its beauty. Street musicians perform beneath historic arcades, locals gather beside the river, and the snow-covered peaks of Mount Pilatus and Mount Rigi stand watch over the city from every direction. Whether watching the sunset from the lakeshore or listening to the gentle sound of water flowing beneath the bridge, it's easy to understand why so many travelers fall in love with this place after only a single day. But Lucerne is more than a destination. It is the gateway to the mountains that define Switzerland itself. And waiting just beyond the city rises one of the country's most legendary peaks, a mountain wrapped in myths, breathtaking panoramas, and unforgettable journeys to the summit, Mount Pilatus. The journey upward is an adventure in itself, as the world's steepest cogwheel railway climbs the mountainside forests, gradually give way to rocky slopes, and each turn reveals an even wider view of central Switzerland. Far below, Lake Lucerne begins to shrink into a ribbon of shimmering blue, while villages become tiny patches of color scattered across green valleys. With every meter of elevation, the world grows quieter, leaving only the sound of the mountain breeze. Reaching the summit feels like stepping above the ordinary. At over 2,000 meters above sea level, endless alpine peaks stretch across the horizon in every direction. On clear days, dozens of mountain ranges appear one after another, while deep valleys and brilliant lakes create a landscape that seems almost unreal. Visitors pause not because there is nowhere else to go, but because the view makes them forget about moving altogether. Yet Mount Pilatus offers more than spectacular scenery. Winding hiking trails lead across dramatic ridgelines, alpine flowers bloom between weathered rocks, and wild mountain goats occasionally appear along the cliffs with remarkable confidence. As clouds drift across the peaks, the landscape transforms from bright sunshine to rolling mist within minutes, giving the mountain a personality that is constantly changing, but never losing its sense of wonder. Leaving the summit behind, the road descends once again toward the valleys below. Ahead lies a place where turquoise lakes, towering mountains, and endless outdoor adventures come together in perfect harmony. Our next destination is Interlaken, the beating heart of the Swiss Alps. There are places you visit for a few hours, and then there are places that make you want to stay for days. The moment we arrived in Interlaken, it became clear why travelers from around the world keep returning. Surrounded by two shimmering lakes and embraced by the towering Swiss Alps, this small town feels less like a destination and more like the heart of every Alpine adventure. Walking through Interlaken is unlike walking through any other mountain town. Colorful wooden chalets overflow with flowers. Horse-drawn carriages roll quietly along peaceful streets, and the distant sound of cowbells drifts down from the surrounding hills. Looking up, paragliders float effortlessly across the sky, carried by mountain winds, while snow-covered peaks dominate the horizon in every direction. It's impossible not to stop every few minutes just to admire the view. One afternoon, we wandered through Hermatte Park, the wide green meadow that stretches across the center of town. Families relaxed on the grass. Cyclists passed by at an easy pace, and visitors from every corner of the world gathered with cameras, pointed toward the magnificent Jungfraujoch, standing proudly in the distance. The atmosphere was calm, yet filled with the quiet excitement that only comes from knowing extraordinary landscapes are waiting just beyond the next trail. But Interlaken isn't only about breathtaking scenery. It is where adventure becomes part of everyday life. Here you can sail across turquoise lakes, hike through peaceful forests, glide above the valleys beneath a colorful parachute, or simply sit beside the water and watch the changing light dance across the mountains. Every experience feels connected to nature, reminding us that Switzerland's greatest luxury has never been its cities, but the incredible landscapes that surround them. As the evening sun disappears behind the Alpine peaks, the valleys grow quieter, and our journey continues deeper into the mountains. Ahead lies one of the most breathtaking places in all of Switzerland, a valley where towering cliffs release dozens of waterfalls that seem to fall straight from the sky. Welcome to Lauterbrunnen. Some places are so beautiful that they almost don't seem real. Lauterbrunnen is one of them. The first time we entered the valley, it felt as though we had stepped into another world, a place where towering cliffs rise almost vertically from the valley floor, and waterfalls seem to pour directly from the clouds above. The deeper we walked into Lauterbrunnen, the quieter everything became. Wooden chalets rested peacefully among emerald meadows, their balconies overflowing with colorful flowers. The sound of rushing water echoed from every direction, blending with birdsong and the distant ringing of cowbells grazing on the hillsides. Looking around, it was impossible to ignore the sheer scale of the landscape. Massive rock walls surrounded the valley like nature's own cathedral, making every step feel wonderfully small. The valley is home to more than 70 waterfalls, each with its own character. Some tumble gently over moss-covered cliffs, while others plunge hundreds of meters into the open air before disappearing into the forest below. Standing beside Staubach Falls, one of Europe's highest free-falling waterfalls, we watched the wind scatter its mist into the sunlight, creating tiny rainbows that appeared and vanished within seconds. It wasn't simply a beautiful sight, it was one of those rare moments that made time seem to slow down. As we continued exploring narrow walking paths, led through peaceful fields, across wooden bridges, and toward hidden corners, where the crowds quickly disappeared. Every turn revealed another breathtaking view, another waterfall, another quiet reminder of how powerful and untouched nature can still be. Unlike many famous destinations, Lauterbrunnen doesn't ask you to rush from one attraction to another. It encourages you to slow your pace, breathe deeply, and simply exist within its extraordinary surroundings. Leaving the valley behind was far more difficult than arriving, but Switzerland still had one unforgettable experience waiting above the clouds. Our next journey takes us to the highest railway station in Europe, where glaciers, eternal snow, and endless Alpine horizons come together on the legendary summit known as Jungfraujoch, the top of Europe. There are many mountain peaks in Switzerland, but only one place is known as the top of Europe. Long before we reached Jungfraujoch, the journey itself had already become one of the most unforgettable experiences of our travels. With every passing minute, the train climbed higher into the Alps, leaving green valleys behind and entering a world shaped by snow, ice, and stone. Looking through the panoramic windows, the scenery changed almost magically. Dense forests gave way to rugged cliffs. Waterfalls disappeared beneath patches of snow, and distant villages slowly faded into the horizon. The higher we climbed, the quieter everything became. It felt as though we were leaving everyday life behind and entering a place where nature ruled without interruption. Stepping out at Jungfraujoch was unlike arriving anywhere else. The air was crisp and remarkably pure, while endless fields of snow stretched toward towering peaks in every direction. Standing more than 3,400 meters above sea level, we found ourselves surrounded by one of the largest glacier systems in the Alps. The silence was extraordinary. Apart from the occasional crunch of footsteps on fresh snow and the mountain wind sweeping across the ridges, there was almost nothing to hear. It was a silence that made the landscape feel even more immense. Walking onto the viewing platforms, we watched the Alpine Glacier wind its way through the mountains like a frozen river, disappearing into the distance. Sunlight reflected brilliantly from the snow, making the entire landscape sparkle beneath an endless blue sky. Every direction offered another breathtaking panorama, another reminder that some of Earth's greatest masterpieces were created not by people, but by millions of years of nature's patience. As the train carried us back down from the clouds, the snow slowly gave way to green meadows once again. But Switzerland still had another side waiting to be explored, a place where dramatic cliffs meet charming wooden chalets beneath one of the country's most iconic mountains. Our next stop is Grindelwald, a village where Alpine life unfolds beneath towering peaks every single day. There are villages you visit, and there are villages you never truly leave behind. Grindelwald is one of them. Descending from Jungfraujoch, the snowy landscape slowly gave way to rolling green meadows and peaceful valleys. Before long, the towering north face of the Eiger came into view, rising dramatically above a village of wooden chalets and flower-filled balconies. Here, the mountains aren't simply a backdrop, they're part of everyday life. We spent the afternoon wandering quiet trails that wound through open fields and beside crystal-clear streams. Cowbells echoed softly across the hills, while fresh mountain air carried the scent of pine and wildflowers. Every turn revealed another breathtaking view, making it impossible not to stop and admire the landscape. As cable cars floated silently toward the peaks, it became clear why Grindelwald feels so special. Adventure and tranquility exist side by side. Hikers head for the mountains while locals go about their day beneath some of Switzerland's most famous summits, creating a balance that feels both authentic and timeless. By sunset, golden light covered the Eiger before fading into the cool blue of evening. The village grew quiet, but the memory of its alpine beauty lingered long after we left. Ahead, a different side of Switzerland awaits along the elegant shores of Lake Geneva. By the time we reached Lake Geneva, Switzerland felt different once again. The rugged alpine landscapes gradually gave way to gentle vineyards, palm-lined promenades, and elegant lakeside towns. It was hard to believe we were still in the same country. The lake stretches so far across the horizon that it almost resembles the sea. Standing along its shoreline, we watched sailboats drift effortlessly over deep blue water, while the snow-capped Alps reflected in the distance. The atmosphere was calm, almost effortless, inviting us to slow down and enjoy the simple pleasure of watching the world move at its own pace. As we continued exploring, every town around the lake offered its own unique character. In Montreux, flower-lined promenades followed the waterfront beneath towering mountains. In Lausanne, steep streets climbed toward lively cafés and historic buildings overlooking the lake. Everywhere we went, people seemed to spend as much time outdoors as possible, walking, cycling, enjoying a meal by the water, or simply sitting on a bench as the afternoon light shimmered across the surface. One of the most unforgettable moments came while visiting Chillon Castle, standing quietly on a rocky island at the edge of the lake. Surrounded by water on three sides and backed by the Alps, it felt less like a museum and more like a scene from a medieval story. As the sun began to set, its ancient stone walls glowed softly against the blue water, creating one of the most memorable views of our entire journey. Leaving Lake Geneva, we carried with us a different memory of Switzerland, one defined not by towering peaks, but by peaceful waters, timeless towns, and quiet elegance. Our journey now leads to the nation's capital, where medieval streets and centuries of history continue to shape everyday life in the remarkable city of Bern. Some capitals are defined by towering skyscrapers and endless traffic. Bern chooses a different path. The moment we arrived, it felt as though the city had quietly stepped out of another century, yet somehow remained wonderfully alive. We began our walk beneath Bern's famous sandstone arcades, where boutiques, cafés, and bookstores line streets that have welcomed travelers for hundreds of years. Every corner seemed to reveal another fountain, another hidden courtyard, or another beautifully preserved building. There was no rush here. People lingered over coffee, cyclists passed by with a friendly smile, and the city's slow rhythm encouraged us to do the same. Reaching the rose garden above the old town, we stopped to take in one of the finest views in Switzerland. Below us, the turquoise River curved gracefully around the medieval center, wrapping the city in a near-perfect loop. Red rooftops, historic towers, and church spires created a skyline that had remained remarkably unchanged for generations. As evening settled over Bern, the streets became even quieter. The warm glow of old lanterns reflected against centuries-old stone buildings, while the sound of the river echoed gently through the city. It wasn't the grandest place we visited, nor the most dramatic, but it possessed something far rarer, a sense of peace that is increasingly difficult to find in the modern world. With the capital behind us, one final natural wonder still awaited. Our journey now heads north to witness the incredible force of Europe's largest waterfall, where thousands of tons of rushing water transform the quiet Swiss landscape into a breathtaking display of raw power, the magnificent Rhine Falls. For much of our journey through Switzerland, we had admired quiet lakes, peaceful valleys, and snow-covered peaks. But our final destination offered something completely different. Long before we reached Rhine Falls, we could already hear it, the deep, unmistakable roar of millions of liters of water crashing through the landscape every second. Standing at the viewing platforms, the sheer power of the waterfall was impossible to ignore. White water thundered over massive rocks, sending cool mist into the air as rainbows appeared and disappeared in the sunlight. The sound drowned out every conversation around us, leaving only the force of nature to command our attention. We boarded a small boat that carried us closer to the falls, and with every passing moment, the experience became even more unforgettable. The spray grew stronger, the current more powerful, and the towering walls of water seemed almost close enough to touch. In the center of the river stood a giant rock where visitors climbed to a small viewing platform surrounded by rushing water on every side. It was both exhilarating and humbling. As we stepped back onto shore for one last look, it felt like the perfect ending to our Swiss adventure. From peaceful lakes and charming villages to soaring mountains, ancient cities, and finally this breathtaking display of raw natural power, Switzerland had revealed a different side of itself at every stop. Some journeys are measured by the number of places we visit. Others are remembered by the moments that change the way we see the world. Switzerland gave us both. And as we leave this remarkable country, behind its mountains, lakes, and quiet beauty, remain with us, inviting us to return once again to the heart of the Alps. As our journey across Switzerland comes to an end, one thing becomes clear. This country is far more than its famous mountains, luxury watches, or postcards. It's a place where every valley tells a story, every lake reflects a different mood, and every winding road leads to a memory you'll carry long after you've gone. From the peaceful shores of Zurich to the breathtaking heights of Jungfraujoch, from hidden Alpine villages to the thunder of Rhine Falls, we've discovered a Switzerland that rewards those willing to slow down and truly experience it. If this journey inspired you, let it be the beginning of your own adventure. And if you've already visited Switzerland, we'd love to know which place captured your heart the most. Share your favorite destination in the comments below.